certainly, I would disagree with Luke Salazar in one area. I'd like to be able to change the game plan a little bit and perhaps try to, if we're going to win a game, try to win it, in the third period. But it certainly is, in some ways, symbolic of how our team has been and how our season's been this year. It has not been as fluid and as consistent as perhaps we thought it was going to be back in September. But we certainly have, through the many challenges, like every team has, but through the many challenges that we've had, we've been able to figure out ways to be able to play a little bit more consistently and play a style that has given us some success. And certainly when you've got guys like Drew Shore and Jason Zucker and certainly Luke Salazar who are finding ways to help us win games late in games recently, it certainly makes life a little bit more pleasant, in post-game, that's for sure.
George, you called Luke on Tuesday, you called him your resident hero. Just talk a little bit more about him and his ability to, seem to get the puck on his stick late in games, put the puck in the net.
Well, I think you probably all heard that he's not a great talker. He's not a guy that's going to have he's probably the most quiet guy in our locker room. In fact, probably the most quiet guy we've had in our locker room in years. But certainly his play, his stick, talks for him, so to speak. When he was a freshman, he was very one-dimensional. I mean, he was a guy that just kind of hung out in the perimeter, and we stuck him with Tyler Bozak, and Bozak would give him the puck and he would bury it. I remember the first 3 months of his freshman season there, everybody was saying, "Who's this Salazar kid? We've never heard of him before." When Bozak went down with the injury, and then afterwards, after the following year when he left, it was a struggle for Luke because he had to become better away from the puck. He had to learn how to play away from the puck, and rather than just hang around and wait for someone to give him the puck, he had to go get it. He had to learn how to play defense. He had to be able to do a lot of things in our own zone that he'd never been asked to in junior hockey. And to his credit, he's worked very hard at it. It hasn't been easy for him. It's been very frustrating at times for him. There have been times where he hasn't played a whole lot, but certainly, it's really great to see the effort and work that he's put in to be able to see all of a sudden now it all starting to bear fruit towards the end of his senior year. And again, it's a great example of you keep hanging in there, you keep working, good things are going to happen.
George, quick thoughts on Ty Loney. I know that his father is in the building. He obviously had a big goal and a nice helper there.
Ty is another one of these young guys who's got great hands and great offensive instincts. Ty is kind of like where Luke Salazar was when Luke was a freshman. Ty needs to learn a little bit more how to do things away from the puck better and how to get the puck back. But certainly when you put him in position and where he has to take advantage of some of his offensive instincts, he can do that. He's gotten a whole lot better since he stepped on the ice in October, where he could. I wasn't sure if he could even stay at the pace with us in practice, but he has got things that can't be taught, and I don't know whether they're from his dad or what have you, but he's certainly a guy who we saw glimpses of throughout his junior career as a guy who's got great offensive instincts, but certainly a lot of the other areas of the game we knew we could help him with, and with his understanding and his improvement, his work ethic, certainly things are coming along for him.
George Zucker obviously has pretty good offensive instincts too. You've had guys leave before. It's one of those things you can't control, I guess. What are your thoughts on trying to get him to stick around for another year?
Well, I think that, when you watch Jason, certainly he's got a great release and scored a big goal for us today. And I'll be honest with you, both Jason and I had some discussions after the first period and after the second period, trying to analyze and help him get better in the game. I think he'd be the first to admit that he didn't have a great game tonight. Certainly there were times, especially early in the game, where he was kind of playing too much on the perimeter. you know, when he uses his speed and his strength to be able to become a more dynamic player and put pressure on the defenseman, he can be pretty good. It took him a while to start to do that today, and so, you know, he was certainly the man that put the puck in the net for us in overtime. It was a great winner. Certainly, we'd like to be able to see him, along with some of his other teammates, play a little bit more of a complete game tomorrow.
Are you kind of between the lines there? Are you hinting that maybe he could use another year of college hockey to grow and mature as a player?
I'll tell you one thing, Bruce. I have never, ever, in my 30-plus years and my 18 years at Denver, I've never, ever talked with anyone who regretted staying another year. But I certainly have talked to a lot of guys who have said, you know, they regret leaving early. And so there's never anything wrong with leaving if you're ready, and there's never anything wrong with staying to be able to get one more extra year to be able to give yourself a better chance to be able to play at the top level. You know, what that decision is for Jason or for any of our guys, hard to say right now.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about how you match up with the UMD tomorrow?
Oh wow! You know, there was a point back in January. I thought Duluth, without a doubt, was the best team in the country, and they were going to run away with the WCHA title. You know, hats off to certainly the Gophers for reeling them in and being able to win it. But you know, I think a lot of people, including yours truly, thought they were going to take a dip from last year's teams, based upon how many guys they lost and key guys they lost. Certainly, they haven't. That's a great credit to Scott and his staff. Obviously, Jack Connolly is a tremendous talent, and you know, Brady Lamb and Oleksic and Kenny Reeder. I mean, they've got the team to beat, not only in this tournament but in the next one. And we know certainly there's going to be some time. We're going to spend some time tonight trying to figure out what are the things that we're going to need to do. It's been, I think it was October when we played them last, and we watched them, but we haven't played them. So it's, you know, there's going to be some challenges that we're going to have to face and figure out ways to be able to play them as efficiently as possible.
One more question? Anybody? John?
George, have you ever had a year where you had such a revolving door in goaltending with all the injuries and problems? I mean, it's been a really
well, you know, I will say this, that, you know, the way I look at it, it's been just an incredible luxury for me. I don't know of any coach, I know I've never gone through this, where you have three guys, Adam Murray, Sam Britton, Juho Okunara, who we can call on to go in the net and give us a chance to be successful. I mean, you're lucky. We've been lucky to have two really good ones over the years, but this year to have three, it's, you know, I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you is that Steve Miller and Derek Lalonde did just a heck of a job last July. We had no idea who Juho Okunara was. Nobody did. And yet, you know, when all of a sudden we're looking for a goaltender to come in and you know, they were the ones that made the decision that Okunara was the guy. So, but we've been extremely fortunate to have those three guys. And unfortunately, you know, for Adam, he's been a great team guy. But I mean, here's a guy who could, you know, who would normally be playing on a regular basis. He's the odd man out, not because of what he's not doing, but because of how well Okunara and Britton have played. So yeah, it's a great luxury, and his example is very, very powerful to be able to realize that hey, there are other guys in our lineup who aren't playing a whole lot or who aren't playing at all. Just look at Adam. Look at how he's handling it.
But it's a luxury to have the three, but it's amazing that you've needed the three.
It is. You know, and I, you know, we're just, as I said before, we're just very fortunate to be able to have those three, and we've had, you know, like everybody goes through challenges, and you know, we'll hopefully have a few more of those injured guys back next week, with the hope that, you know, if we do get a bid for the national tournament, those guys will be able to play. But in the meanwhile, you know, it's nice to be able to know that one of those three guys in goal can be relied upon to give us a chance.
Do you know